Okay, I will call this meeting to order at 7:01. If I could have somebody move to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Schultz, all in favor? Carried. Regular meeting minutes, January 13th. If I could get Craig to take a look at it.
Everything looked well.
Everything
I'll make
looked
a
good.
motion to accept the minutes as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Next up is our delegation, and he appears to be running late, so I think we'll just move ahead with item 1 and fill the delegation in when he gets here. Okay, item 1, delegation response from Dr. Jeff Jones and Dr. Dempsey, re the physician income cuts and patient care. Marion, yeah, anything to...
No, we did send a letter as directed at the last council meeting. Also, we have arranged a meeting for tomorrow night with the mayors and reeves of Pincher Creek, Fort McLeod, Claresholm, DMD Willow Creek, Staveley and Nanton to discuss how we perhaps can lobby government to make some changes.
That's tomorrow night, yeah.
Could we get a copy of that letter?
Yep, can we get a copy of that letter sent out to the members?
Yep, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's not much to report. Tomorrow night we'll have a meeting. We'll see what kind of plan of action we can come up with between us and go from there. It has been delayed. The provincial government has pushed back because of pushback from the physicians. So we have some time. So if we have this meeting, we'll bring back the results to the next council, and then I think we're trying to formulate a plan where we, all of us united, sign a letter, put it forward, and or maybe talk to them, or we don't know yet. We'll see what comes up tomorrow night.
Is Roger or any MLAs, or is it just strictly Reeves and mayors?
Just reads and mirrors. Roger's in session in Edmonton, I believe.
Yeah, for tomorrow night, we did not include Roger.
Yeah, I don't think he could have made it because they are in session right now. So,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
so we will report back. Number 2, delegation response, Claresholm Skate Park Association plans and vision for the new skate park. There's quite a bit of information come forward on this. Marion's got a little briefing first, and then I'll...
Yes, so in response to the delegation, I thought that probably it would be best if I met with the organizations to better understand what their needs are based on whatever council's decision was moving forward, how we would be able to assist those organizations to continue their programming and in the most effective way we could. So I met with Delaney from Minor Ball, and we talked about, the use of Moffat and the use of the other diamonds, and they do use Moffat on a regular basis. She provided some statistics with regards to that. I asked the question, what would we do, what would we need to do for them if council were to determine that the skate park was to go in Moffat, and so we talked about the changes that would be needed there. Further to that, I also met with Lisa with the Skate Park Association to understand what their needs are and what their, if the decision was to not use Moffat, what the alternatives would be there. In the meantime, I was also contacted by David Hansma from the Ag Society, and he had read in the paper that we had been discussing Moffat Park, and we had a little bit of conversation about whether or not the Ag Society was in support of the use of the park or not. And so I asked him to get me some clarification on that, and as of this morning, he sent me a copy of minutes dated April 17th of 2019, and it appears that there's been a little bit of miscommunication because there was a motion passed at that board meeting to decline giving the use of the Moffat Ballpark to the skateboard committee. And that was, from what I gather from the minutes, was because they were concerned about the the longevity
Longevity.
of the skate park and the idea that they wouldn't be able to, well, let me just read you what it says here. The board talked about what implication and limitation this all cement design would have on any future development of the agriplex. So, you know, the finality of putting that in there and the longevity of that. So with that in mind, I was able to receive those minutes prior to meeting with Lisa, and so that kind of changed the perspective, of course, because we've all been going on the impression that there was approval given at the Ag Society level because they have the lease on the property, and Moffat Park and the community hall are actually included in that lease on that land. So the question then with Lisa today was, okay, if we don't have approval from the Ag Society, that means Moffat remains as is, potentially, unless there's further negotiations there. So what are the alternatives? So the Skate Park Association's second option was to be on the new multi-use facility site, and originally they had talked about maybe putting that on the north end. You may recall that Jason Hemaway and Allison McKee had brought forward a proposal about doing sort of a farm to garden or type idea on that site with some there was a number of ideas that came with that. So I talked with them, with Jason as well today, to see where that was at, and he said that they would work around whatever the decision of council was. They weren't wasn't concerned about the impact of the use of the site for that. They either could incorporate some of it into the design, or they could choose another location if that were to come to fruition. But they haven't really done much further legwork on it at this point in time. So as council is aware, when the design of the multi-use facility was approved, the site plan is somewhat different than what it was originally, and the building will be going down on the north end of the property. So that leaves, when I did some rough calculations today, approximately half of the south end of the property. Before I made that recommendation to council, though, I wanted to make sure I met with Lisa, their association, to understand whether that would meet with their needs. And they would be in favor of that, is what I heard. So that's sort of, in a nutshell, what's happened over the last 2 weeks. I just wanted to make sure before council made a decision that we had all the information on the table, and so now it's sort of, I guess, up to you. Because we don't have the approval of the Ag Society, if that's still the location that you would like to pursue, we can leave the motion on the table and negotiate that with the Ag Society, or we can rescind the motion if you determine that perhaps it would be feasible to consider the new multi-use facility site.
Well, that's a lot of food for thought. Marion and me met today about this, and we did take a look at the site plan for the new facility. And actually, if we were to put it, let's say, the middle of the east side of the existing property, we could utilize the new parking lot that's going in, put it right beside the parking lot. So that's, and then as far as water and sewer, there's water there. I don't know what sewer.
Well, there isn't sewer there right now, and that's one of the conversations I had with Lisa, is during the day, because the building will be occupied basically from 8 till whatever time, 8 till 5 on a daily basis anyway, Monday through Friday. There is public washrooms, so that's fine during the day. But then after hours, that creates an issue. So it might be something that they'll need to consider in their design concept, is putting washroom facilities in. But the sewer and water will be available because we will be doing a multi-use facility. If we know the skate park is going there, we can accommodate that service in the design of the building to make sure that it's available for future connection.
I think it's when you draw it out, I think it'll look great there.
I think it's a great idea.
The
You see where-
concern
like,
I have with that site is
Water.
water,
Yeah, but we're gonna,
drainage.
if it's gonna be there, it's gonna be elevated and drainage put in. It would all be part of
To
the
be.
program.
That's where all the soil samples will come in, the grading will be proper, everything.
Yeah.
Like the company that does this and everybody coming in to fully put the project together, that definitely comes into play is mitigating those issues.
And
So,
especially if you're going right beside the parking lot, we're gonna have to solve the water problems for the parking lot.
regardless.
So you just extend it and solve the water problems for that corner.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm well aware of the amount of water that sits in there, and it's quite easy to deal with. It's not complicated.
We do the soil testing because it'll hopefully, depending on what all this outcome is, if we get the soil sampling done in the spring, they'll see how high the water table is and how big a problem it actually could be.
And that can be played with. As far as water and sewer, water's right behind it. And if sewer does, because I know the sewer's on the far side, it might become an issue. We can do the same as the spray park, put a holding tank in.
Well, or it might be something that, like I said, we can consider when we
Yeah,
design the
so
building.
it's something we gotta look at. We should consider while we're in design.
So
But
that, yeah.
I think it's a good location, and I think it's something that
Second best choice.
we should move with.
There's just one other piece of information I failed to mention though. When I was meeting with Delaney, and I think this was presented prior to council, but one of the things that Minor Wall would like to do is actually do some fundraising and grant applications and those kind of things to enhance Moffat Park. So, I think in this circumstance, we're able to accommodate Minor Wall and enhance that program along with enhancing the skate park idea, and for the community as a whole, I think it could be a real
Yeah.
win-win.
All said and done. I mean, I was only dealing with the information that I was given
For sure.
this past 10 months. Otherwise, this could have been a whole different kettle of fish. Thankfully, we found this out when we did, before we got any further in this whole thing. But ultimately, patience obviously is a virtue, because if this is the actual outcome that we're going to get 1 year later, we've got 2 spaces now for the kids in town that will be, beautiful green and outdoor spaces that can be utilized instead of totally changing just the one. So
Well, the other
it's a
nice
bit of a
thing,
surprise.
the other nice thing, if you look at the conceptual plan of the new multi-use building, is the youth center is at the one end, for FCSS and the station, and I mean it
Pretty
kind of
fluid.
goes hand in hand. And if you look at
Yeah.
the other aspect, people driving by on the highway, you'll see the new building, and you'll see eventually
We like
the skate
families.
park.
And for
Yeah.
some people, that was a concern. Why are you putting it so far back? Why, that was like a lot of the people from Minor Ball. I know largely they didn't want to lose their diamond, but a lot of people had that question. Why are you putting it so far back? Well, it's kind of, you got to put it where you can.
where this available.
But this is one of the issues that came up. Why not put it where the exposure was? But it wasn't even considered an option because of the gardens and stuff. So what a difference a day makes.
Well, and back then, to be frank, the multi-use building was in a different location, and things are always changing.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So
And I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, and here we are. So,
Beautiful.
so is there any input, any comments, or
I like it.
so we theoretically have to make a
I
motion?
did have a bunch, but
Well,
they're
go for
kind of, well, there's nothing you can do about it because of the,
it. Agroplex?
yeah, so no sense bringing that up because you can't go forward with that anyway, so.
Well, it would be tough because it is under the lease agreement
So-
with them. It's unfortunate that they didn't relay that minutes to us.
Well,
Well, we
I
got the
don't know,
minutes.
I don't know where the miscommunication happened.
I
it
contacted
just
our
did.
last chairman to say, did we get anything in writing? Because I only came on the fall, and this all happened late winter, spring, so I had no document, I was just going on what I had.
The big pushback from the Ag Society
Mm-hmm,
was they thought, because we talked about
mm-hmm,
a BMX park,
oh, yeah,
they thought, oh, that's motorbikes.
oh, Yeah.
we don't want motorbikes
Right.
around our horses and animals, right?
And just,
Which absolutely wasn't.
and just for
the
clarification,
table.
that was one of the conversations I had with Lisa this afternoon when we talked, was that the site at the multi-use facility is not an appropriate site for a BMX track. So that would have to be considered in a different
Yeah.
location, right? And she
Yeah.
agreed with
And that's a
that.
whole other ball of wax, and that's a whole other funding raising effort, so if we can get
One
as far as
step-
we can, just
Yeah,
let's get
one
this
step at a
skate
time.
park done. Yeah, exactly.
So if the agreement around the table is to go this direction, then we need to make a motion to rescind our recommendation for Moffat Park, first off.
I'll make that motion if
Councillor
you
Moore?
need, Mr. Mayor.
Nice.
Got it? Question?
Moved by Councillor Moore to rescind motion number 19038.
All in favor? Carried. And any other discussion about the new, possible new location?
I'm like with Brad though, just worried about how much water it seems to collect in that.
That'll be done in the engineering.
Yeah.
We wouldn't put it in the middle of a lake. So it definitely will be taken care of.
Well, it won't really make sense for us to do that multi-purpose building and then have a lake behind it.
No. It's gonna be part of the long term. And this, the soil analysis will come back with
Mhm.
information like that.
So what happens if that comes back negative?
Then we will be looking for a new location. Or we'll change the grades of the land and put drainage. It's easy enough. You can put drainage into existing ground and lower the water table.
It's only dirt.
It's only
Or you
dirt.
might
and
have
stuff.
to
Dirt.
tie into a storm system or something.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's been done before where you put in like either gravity drainage into a storm system or mechanical. But you can lower the water table in
And those
a
kids are a
specific.
determined bunch, they'll be out with squeegees, getting that water out of there.
Well, we'll
I'm
get the,
telling you now.
gotta get the water out from below it if it's necessary. And that's where your soil analysis will come through.
Mhm.
And we'll have to do the same for the parking lot, so.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about, you can work with
Yeah.
soil conditions. You just gotta know what they are to know what direction to go.
Mhm.
So if anybody's willing to stick their neck out and recommend it, Councillor Schultz. I'd have done it, but I'm not allowed.
That's why I scooped it.
On the side
On the
of-
site up.
Boy, I'm glad Corinne's gotta do all this.
I think that's right. Address, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay, so, I have moved by Councillor Schultz to support locating the new skate park on the site of the new multi-use community building at 5318 2nd Street West. And I'm not positive that's the right address, I'll have to double check, but I think that's right.
Okay, good enough. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. You have a home.
Good job, Lisa. Good job. Good job.
See what you did?
What?
Brought her to tears.
Can you give her a hug? Yeah, good job. That was a long haul. Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks for coming out. Thanks for the long fight.
Oh, it's not done yet, but at least we have a home.
Well, that's good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, see you guys.
See ya.
Thanks, Delaney.
Thanks, guys.
Win-win for everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Number 3, Alberta Government Budget 2020 consultation begins. Marion.
That's just for information. They're looking for Albertans to provide information on their new budget, upcoming budget, so there's an online ability for us to contribute to that if we so choose.
Any comments, or we just take it for information?
Just for information.
Take it for information. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Number 4, correspondence, Alberta Health Services, Phase 2, cannabis legalization.
Interesting.
Marion.
Okay, so Dr. David Strong, who is the medical officer of health for the Calgary zone, sent out some information regarding their recommendations for municipalities when it comes to now having legalization of edibles. And they're suggesting that municipalities consider the social and health harms and that they have a more restrictive environment until a larger body of research can tell us more about the effects of cannabis. So we did a review of our existing bylaw that was passed, I believe, in 2018, if I remember correctly, 2018 or 19, bylaw 1654. In that bylaw, we had a little bit of foresight into the edibles becoming legal in 2019. So with the review, we feel that our bylaw currently covers everything that we need, and that there's no need for any changes to that bylaw. And the bylaw was attached in your package for your review.
Right.
Okay, we'll just take this for information. Move on. Number 5, correspondence, the Old Man Regional Services Commission, GIS for a grant application and a letter of support. Marion.
Yes, so Old Man River, as you were aware, hosts our GIS, which is our Geographical Information System. And they do that on behalf of a number of municipalities. And they're looking at doing an upgrade to that, and are making an application to the Alberta Community Partnership Grant. And they have been successful in that in the past for the projects that they've been doing. So they're looking for a motion, and it's a little bit further back in your package. It got kind of in behind the subdivision rather than
Found
through
it.
this.
Sorry.
So basically, they're just looking for a letter of support. The town of Coaldale will be the managing partner on that grant. And currently, they're not looking for any financial commitment from any of the participating municipalities.
Well, you did get put back.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Motion from somebody? Councillor Schlesberg. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger that the town of Claresholm participate in the application for the 2020 Old Man River Regional GIS Enhancement Project submitted by the town of Coaldale under the intermunicipal collaboration component of the Alberta Community Partnership Grant, and further to abide by the terms of the conditional grant agreement governing the purpose and use of the grant funds.
All in favor? Carried. Number 6, correspondence. The Old Man River Regional Services Commission, notice of application for subdivision of land. Marion.
Yes, so this is the land that we sold out at the industrial airport to Frank Klassen. So he's applied for the subdivision on that land. And it's just been circulated for comment, and of course, because we are still currently the owners of that, the land transfer hasn't completed yet. The only comment I have is that we want to make sure that our sale agreement is registered by way of caveat on that property, and that has, I don't believe it has been submitted yet. It should be submitted this week though, just to make sure that that's registered on the title prior to subdivision. So that will be done this week.
And that's a building commitment caveat you're talking about?
Correct.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Nope, seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, a motion.
We don't need a motion.
Don't need a motion for
Yeah,
this?
it was just,
Just information?
information.
Okay, taken.
unless we had a comment, further comment, but.
Okay. Number 7, request for decision, emergency management preparedness program grant. Marion?
Okay, so Jason, as our Director of Emergency Management, has been working with the MD and 5 other municipalities within our proximity to look at doing basically a project that starts with drills and training opportunities and then some tabletop exercises, which will lead to a fully functional exercise in September of 2021 to test and train our staff in those municipalities on emergency preparedness. There is a grant through the Emergency Management Preparedness Program. And so the MD of Willow Creek will be applying for that grant. They've also asked each municipality to be prepared to put $2,000 forward in 2021 to do the actual physical exercise. There will be some costs associated with some of the training and then as well as the exercise. It'll be a 2-day exercise and will incorporate multi-jurisdictions. So we're looking tonight for a letter of support for the grant application as well as the financial commitment of $2,000 in 2021 for the 2-year project.
Any questions? Motion? Councillor Cutler? Question?
Sorry, I didn't know.
Cutler.
Cutler?
Okay.
Cutler.
Moved by Councillor Cutler to write a letter of support for the grant
Cutler.
application being submitted by the MD of Willow Creek to the Emergency Management Preparedness Program grant to support the delivery of large-scale regional projects and to financially support the project in the amount of $2,000 in 2021.
All in favor? Carried. Number 8, request for decision, draft 2020-2022 strategic plan.
It's a good read again.
You read it again?
Yeah.
Good.
Each year.
You, Marion, anything to add? I mean, it's
Um,
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, just, this is a follow-up to our strategic planning session that we had. One of the things I did do though is I simplified the plan a little bit from what we had before. And the reason I did that is I took, instead of having year 1, 2, and 3 strategies, I just combined them as strategies because so many of your strategic priorities were multi-year
Overlapping.
commitments.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought it made more sense to just combine them into what the strategies are. We identified some of the actual tasks that we would incorporate to meet those goals. But essentially that was the change to the format that we used previously.
Okay. Any questions? Motion? Councillor Schlossberger. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to approve the Town of Claresholm Strategic Plan 2020 to 2022 as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, Claresholm Fire Chief appointment. Marion?
All right, so after establishing the hiring committee, as per the bylaw, we had myself, our HR person, Lisa Chilton, as well as Neil Schuler from the fire department, who was appointed by the fire department to sit on the committee. Go through the hiring process. We had 26 candidates who applied, and we carried out 6 interviews. Through that process and in the conclusion of the hiring, it was determined that Craig White was the best candidate, and he was offered the full-time position and accepted that position with a start date of February 10th. So as per bylaw 1662, council is required to appoint Craig as the fire chief. I will just say that I'm very happy to have Craig in that position. I know that he's going to do a very good job. I know that he has the community as well as the department itself in their best interest at heart. He has the support of the firemen. I went to their meeting last Wednesday and made the announcement, and they were all very grateful to hear that Craig was appointed. So I suspect that this will be a very seamless transition, and Craig has some ideas of how he's going to continue to improve the department and just really serve the community very well. So I just wanted Craig to be here tonight to introduce him to council for those of you that don't know him, and welcome him to our team, and look forward to working with him.
Nice. Sean Kelly had some good spidey senses, didn't he? That's awesome.
And then Craig will take training for the
For the
inspection.
safety codes, yeah, he's actually already registered today. He's been registered for his first few courses that he needs to take, and
Perfect.
we'll get him trained. And in the interim, Sean will be continuing with our it's not investigations, with our inspections.
Inspections.
Different scenario.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Awesome, thanks, Mary.
So who would like to make the motion?
I will make a motion to appoint Craig White.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to appoint Craig White to be the full-time fire chief effective February 10th, 2020.
All in favor? Carried.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thanks.
Jen.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Good
night.
luck.
Night, Craig.
Thanks.
Okay.
Life is cool. Cool beans.
Number 10, request for decision 2020 open houses. Marion?
So we have discussed this previously, but we just wanted to set the dates and the agendas for the upcoming council open houses. So we're proposing Thursday, February 27th at the Bridges at Clarison Golf Club.
28th.
27.
It is the 27th.
Oh,
In here it says it's 28th.
in the writing it says 28.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
The
okay.
motion says the 27th, I'm sorry.
No, the writing says the
Right, it says
27th.
27th.
You're looking at last year's.
Oh, am I looking at last year's?
Let's go, guys. Sports select, get in the game.
Thursday, February 27th.
I don't know why he interrupts you when you're trying to talk.
I'm not in.
So no, Thursday, February 27th, 2020, at the golf course, and the subject matter will be the 2020 budget, as well as the multi-use community buildings. And
Nice.
we've met this week with the, last week, sorry, or Monday this week, with the contractor, and they will have designs prepared for us to be able to present to the public
By February 27th?
Exciting.
by the 27th.
They'll have them ready a week ahead of that.
Oh,
These
Nice.
guys are pretty keen. They were on meeting with them. They're
Try
a pretty
Okay.
good group.
good.
Nice.
And then the second open house we're proposing is for Thursday, May 7th, 2020. And we're proposing to host that at the Seniors Drop-In. And that week, May 3rd to 9th, is Emergency Preparedness Week. So we thought that discussions could focus on emergency preparedness, so what our plans are for the community. And if you remember the software program that we're purchasing, we'll get people to sign up for that program that night,
Excellent.
get that information out to the public. As well, we'll talk about the fire services and the intermunicipal collaboration framework, because that is to be completed by April 1st, and so we'll be prepared to present all of that final information to the public.
You guys have been very busy. Holy smokes.
I like those dates.
Are you sure?
Yeah, now I know it's the 28th or 27th.
You can handle it?
It gives us a start. There'll be two more that be
Yeah.
announced, but it gives us a start.
Yep.
Okay, if I can get a couple of motions. Councillor Cutler. Question.
Moved by Councillor Cutler to have the first council open house of 2020 on Thursday, February 27th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Bridges at Claresholm Golf Club. Discussions to focus on the 2020 budget and the multi-use community buildings.
All in favor? Carried.
Oh, sorry, and the one thing I was gonna ask you is, I just kind of assumed 7 o'clock. I hope
Yep.
that's okay. I know
That's
what
sometimes
we've
we
done the
actually
other
had
ones
it
at.
start at 6:30, I
Mhm.
think, maybe. Are you okay with 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
7 o'clock works
Sorry,
better.
is that something we didn't talk about?
Okay, next motion. Boy, Councillor Cutler. Question.
Moved by Councillor Cutler to have the second council open house of 2020 on Thursday, May 7th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Claresholm Seniors Drop-In Center with discussions to focus on emergency preparedness, fire services, and the intermunicipal collaboration framework.
All in favor? Carried. Number 11, committee structure changes. There's only 2 on there. I may as well talk about. It's the chamber.
Yep.
Representative is currently Councilor Schlossberger. And with the commitments he has to South Grow and
Alberta
Alberta
Southwest.
I, after consultation with him, I've agreed that we'll take Brad off that committee and appoint Councillor Cutler. If that's all right with everybody.
Mhm.
And there'll be one other change. The current deputy mayor is Keith Carlson.
Mm.
Keith is unable to fulfill those duties right now.
Right.
So I'm proposing that we assign that position to Craig Zimmer for, from the 29th of this month to the end of February, and then Keith should be back in form and able to take
Just
over.
effective today,
Effective,
27th, just effective.
we could make
tomorrow,
it
or
today.
even tomorrow.
Yeah, we could make it today. 26th today? What's the date?
7th.
27th.
Yeah, we can make it effective today or tomorrow, whatever works. So if that's okay, I can get a motion to make those 2 changes. Councillor Schlossberger?
Okay, so, I have it actually as 2 motions.
You wanna do it in 2?
So
Okay,
you
we'll
want,
do, first,
so the first one for the change on the
Yeah.
chamber?
okay,
Yeah.
Councillor Schlossberger made that one.
Should he make that motion for himself?
I don't.
I don't see why, that's not a conflict.
I'd have someone else.
I think you probably.
I'll
should.
do
I'll
Do
make the
somebody
motion.
else? Okay, we'll do Councillor Zimmer.
To remove Councillor Schlossberger and appoint Councillor Cutler as the town rep.
I don't see
He
it
just
as a
wanted to say
conflict. Okay, question.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to remove Councillor Brad Schlossberger and appoint Councillor Mike Cutler as the town's representative on the Claresholm District Chamber of Commerce.
All in favor? Carried. And then Councillor Schlossberger will make the motion for the temporary signing of deputy mayor. Question.
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to appoint Councillor Craig Zimmer as deputy mayor effective January 27th, 2020 until February 29th, 2020.
Can we just add the word temporary appointment?
Yep.
As temporary deputy mayor?
Yeah, 'cause
To
it's-
temporarily appoint. To
Okay.
temporarily appoint.
Yeah.
Just so it's clear.
But it's
that
not a
just
permanent, it
temporary.
is just a fill-in because of
Yep.
illness.
Covering for Keith.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Schlossberger to temporarily appoint Councillor Craig Zimmer as deputy mayor effective January 27th, 2020 until February 29th, 2020.
Sounds good. All in favor? Carried. Information brief, CAO report. Any questions for Marion in there?
Done a wonderful job.
Wonderful job. Good.
I mean, it's interesting looking at all the facts.
It
I think
is,
I,
it is.
I like the way it's broken down. Each department does it. I think it helps a lot.
It is. 13, information brief, council resolution status. Any questions in there? And finally, adoption of the information items. Any questions in there? If we could get a motion to adopt the information items.
I'll make the motion to adopt the information items as presented.
Councillor Zimmer? Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to adopt the information items as presented.
All in favor? Carried. If I could get a motion to go in camera. Councillor Cutler was first.
Sorry, buddy.
All in favor? We are in camera. Camera off, please, and she put her thumb up.
Mhm.
I didn't see that. Okay, a motion to come out of in camera. Councillor Schultz, all in favor? Okay. First order, only order of coming out is a motion to appoint Ryan McCurdy to the museum board. Who would like to do that?
I would like to appoint Ryan McCurdy to the museum board.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to appoint Ryan McCurdy to the Clarkson District Museum Board.
All in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Zimmer, we are adjourned. Camera off.